This is how the Xlookup function works and how it can be used in place of a Vlookup function. Now, remember Xlookup function and Vlookup function and even index and match functions and all lookup functions which can be used to look up value from one table and return them to another table or another array given a specific lookup value. For example, if we want to look up a value like the retail price from this other table, we just want to see where it is falling. Then once we get it, we are going to assign it a discount category. For example, the first retail price is $995. We want to look it up from this range and we realize that it is falling between $0 and $1,000, and that is supposed to be assigned category A, discount. Now that is exactly what the Vlookup function does, the Xlookup function does, and index and match functions also do. Now in this specific tutorial, we are going to focus on how the Xlookup function works and how it can actually be used in place of the Vlookup function. Now, the very first step, we want to look at some of the arguments that go into the Xlookup function. Now we start by typing the equal sign, Xlookup. Then from there, let us see the definition of the Xlookup function or what it actually does. Now from this narration, you can see it searches a range or an array for a match and returns the corresponding item from a second range or array. Now by default, an exact match is used. That is exactly what it does. Now let us look at what it, the kind of arguments that go into Xlookup function. The first one is the lookup value. Now the lookup value is the value that we know. The lookup value may be a value like the ID number or a special character, or maybe just a specific identification number that we can use now to pull data from another array, then return them to another table. Then we have the lookup array. The lookup array is the array or it is the range from where the lookup value falls. For example, if the lookup value here in this case is 995, it has to be found from the cost column. Now this will be the lookup array. Then we have the return array. The return array is actually what we want to return. In this case, we want to look up the retail price, the lookup value, the retail price from the cost column or the cost array. Then once we get them, we'll be returning the discount categories. Yes. Now this is exactly what we refer to as the return array. Then we have other arguments which are optional. The first optional argument in this case is the value which we expect to be returned if we did not find the value we were looking for. Then we have the match mode and the search mode. Now let us go up here and see exactly what we are talking about. We want to assign the discount category to each and every retail price based on the cost. Start by typing equal sign, then Xlookup, then double click. Then the lookup value is the retail price, then comma. The second argument is the lookup array. The lookup array is the array under the cost column. Ensure you have selected the whole column except the header, because the header does not form part of that array. Once you do that, make sure that you have locked that particular selection. Then comma. Then the third argument is the return array, what we actually want to return. It is the discount category array. Again, we select it from A to D. We select everything except the head again. Then we lock. Then value if not found. If we did not find anything, let's say that we just want to return a value like NA. NA. Then we have the match type. The match type in this case, remember, these values are falling within a range. They are not the exact match. So we are not going to go with the first one. They are falling within a range. Let us see what happens. The exact match or next smaller item. The exact match or next larger item. It searches for an exact match. If not found, it searches for the next smaller item. Yes. Let us go with the first one and see what it does. Then just close the bracket. And just the way we had expected, the first retail price has been assigned discount category A. The second one is supposed to be discount category B because it is falling between $1,000 and $10,000. Let us see whether that is the case. So we are just going to copy this formula down. And you can see it is B. The third one is also supposed to be B because it is falling between 1,000 and 10,000. Let us see whether that is the case. Again, that is the case. The fourth one is supposed to be B again because it is falling between 1,000 and 10,000. Now, that is the fifth one. Let us move to the fifth one. The fifth one is supposed to be C now because it is greater than $10,000. It is between $10,000 and $25,000. It is supposed to be C. And with that, we can confirm that our formula has worked, and that is exactly how the Xlookup function works. You can copy the rest up to the bottom. Let us go to the very, very last one and see whether it is correct. And you can see the last one is around $275. That is less than 1,000 and is supposed to be discount category A. Now there are so many weaknesses of a Vlookup function which Xlookup function actually solves. The first one, if we are going to introduce another column in between the cost column and the discount category column, if we were working with a Vlookup function, the formula would actually break. For the Xlookup function, it will not break. Let us have a look at that. Let us come to insert, then insert column. You can see nothing has been broken. Let us go back and look at the second weakness of a Vlookup function which has been solved by the Xlookup function. If we interchange the columns, for example, we say the discount category column should come before the cost column, then for a Vlookup function, it is going to break. And we will be looking at this once after we are done with this. So let me cut it, then bring it here. You can see for the Xlookup function, nothing has happened. The formula has not been broken down. Let us look at the last one. Of course, there are so many weaknesses of a Vlookup function that have been solved by the Xlookup, but we'll not look at all of them. Yes, we are talking about the last one in this case. Remember, for a Vlookup function, the data has to be arranged in ascending order. But for Xlookup function, data can be arranged in any order, either ascending order or descending order. Now let's come here and change this order. Let us come to sort. We want to sort from Z to A, that is from largest to smallest. And you can see actually nothing has happened. Let's see whether the same will happen with a VLOOKUP function. Now, let us remove everything, then let us do VLOOKUP function. Again, the arguments for VLOOKUP function, the first one is the lookup value. The second one is table array, so we are going to select the whole table. Again, do not forget to lock the table. Then we have the column index number. The column index number is the position of the column from where we want to return the values. In this case, it is column number 2 on this table or on this array. So we're just going to type 2, then enter, then copy this formula down. That is for a VLOOKUP function. Now let us see. The first thing that we did was to introduce another column in between the cost column and the discount category column. Let us see whether it is going to work with the VLOOKUP function the way it worked with the Xlookup function. You can see it has not worked. Everything has become 0 under the category column. Yes, it has not worked because we have actually changed the column index number. Now, instead of having the column index number 2 as the discount category, we are having a column index number 2 as having nothing. You can see column index number 2 here, we are having nothing. That is why everything has become 0. For the Xlookup function, you saw very well that we did not have this particular column or function breaking down. Let us come back. The second one was to interchange the columns. Let us see what will happen if we interchange this column so that the discount category column comes before the cost column. Again, you can see the formula for the VLOOKUP function has broken down. And that is very, very common. For a VLOOKUP function, it has to look up value and only return them from the left-hand side. If anything is going to be interchanged, then that formula is going to break down. But for the Xlookup function, that is a problem that has already been solved. Even if we interchange these columns, nothing is going to make that Xlookup function formula to break down. Now let us come to the last one. The last one was change the ordering. We were arranging them from the in a descending order from the largest value to the smallest value. For a VLOOKUP function, ordering has to be done in ascending order. Let's see what happens if we interchange them instead and make them in a descending order. Again, you can see that formula has broken down. So you have seen some of the weaknesses of VLOOKUP function which Xlookup function can actually solve. Let us come back to our Xlookup function because at this point it is more powerful. Xlookup. The lookup value is the retail price. Lookup array, this one, but make sure you lock it. The return array, that one again, make sure you lock it. It is either exact match or next smaller item. So actually, those weaknesses can no longer scare. Those VLOOKUP function weaknesses can no longer scare us. We can do anything that we want with this particular table or array without any fear.